At the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, on the stand today is former Hawks head Lt-Gen Godfrey Lebeya, now referred to as Dr. Lebeya. Now, Dr. Lebeya is represented by Advocate Eric Nwedo, who indicated to the Commission initially that he is representing Dr. Lebeya at his own cost because the state, through General Tibelo Musikidi, refused funding for legal representation. He maintains that Lieutenant General Musikidi is conflicted. She decided to decline the legal funding because Lebeya's testimony will include her at some later stage. However, Commission Chair Justice Madlanga respectfully at that point indicating that they would have no legal standing or basis to intervene in such a matter, even if they were perhaps sympathetic to the doctor's plight. Evidence leader then Lee Sigos Mube, then taking him through his testimony, he moved on immediately to take them down, or rather immediately to the takedown at Gadis Malefe's home. He attributes the December 2024 presence of the Hawks at the house of Gadis Malefa at the same time as the GCI ops to the inability to properly communicate or synchronize work of law enforcement. He essentially holds the view that if they, as the Hawks, were informed of an operation of GCI ops at Malefe's house, they wouldn't have been deployed there. He also states that he didn't know Gadis Malefe, but was called by a gentleman who goes by the name Malcolm X, who told him there were people purporting to be members of the Hawks at the home of Gadis Malefe at the time, after which he sought to establish what was happening at the home. We've now also entered the realm where he has been accused of several other things. He has gone on to state that while doing his work, there were certain people who felt as though he was targeting them. And as we've heard from many officers, it became a matter of he was now feeling as though he was targeted. But somebody who's been watching closely the proceedings of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is my colleague Ayanda Nyati, who's at the Brigitte Mabandla Justice College for us and joins us now to just give us a more comprehensive wrap of everything that we've heard so far. Very good morning to you, Ayanda, yet again. It started as per the norm with somebody's CV. We heard there from the former Hawks head how he is now referred to as Dr. Lebeya. But he also quickly touched on the Gadis Malefa takedown. And essentially, from what I heard, he was attributing all of this to a lack of communication or synchronization within the broader law enforcement. That here, everything could have been avoided if perhaps they were told by GCI ops that they were going to be conducting this takedown at Gadis Malefe's home.
Indeed, and in fact, it seems that he is trying to, I suppose, paint the picture of there being a lack of leadership, and that's why he reckons that there were so many different players in law enforcement descending on that property in Sandton, which led to, I suppose, what we can call the chaos that ensued. It was also very interesting to hear Mfundo what he said from the get-go about how he became aware of that operation, and this is just before he denied even knowing Gadis KT Molefe, saying that neither does he know him, nor does he, or did he have received communication, I beg your pardon, from Gadis KT Molefe. Instead, he pointed to a certain Malcolm X who notified him about the possibility of the Hawks being impersonated during this takedown. Take a listen.
It is vital from the outset. It is vital to mention from the outset that the correct position which will be demonstrated is as follows. I do not know Mr. Gadis Malefe. I was not contacted by Mr. Gadis Malefe. I was contacted by Malcolm X. I directed 2 senior managers to verify the allegations of persons who were said to be claiming to be members of the DPCI and to have been sent by me. I have never instructed the members of the DPCI to interrupt a legitimate police operation.
I imagine a whole lot more will have to be said about that raid as we make our way through this 170-page statement, which we've already heard will essentially take up most of the day before the interrogation essentially begins at a different date. Kenny Mapanga's our senior reporter, has also been listening in and joins us now. And Kenny, we're still going through, I suppose, some of the issues that Dr. Lebeya wants to put to the fore, and that has to do in the main with this idea that there's always been political interference within the police. He's dating it back to 2009.
Yes, well, at the outset, he addresses the issue of Gadis KT Molefe and that he never got a call from him, nor does he know him. But the issue was never about where the call came from. It was about the intention of the Hawks officers when they descended on the Operation Takedown, the 6th of December Operation Takedown, as explained by intelligence when they came before the probe to give that particular information. And the theme that emerged from that evidence was that of interference. So he leads into it, not by first addressing that issue of interference, but perhaps we'll get to it later on. We're still on a few pages of a statement that is close to 200 pages at this point. And he states, or rather goes through a long history of how he found himself on the other side when he would do the correct thing, or at least that's what's being conveyed to the commission. And the inference there is that he could not have been possibly someone who was acting for an ulterior purpose in this incident if he has a long history of behaving or acting correctly or in accordance with the expectation of a leader or a general in the history, to the extent that he says that he was allegedly removed because of his ability to respect the rule of law and to act accordingly in terms of his investigations. And he also, quite interestingly, ropes in recurring allegations about crime intelligence with respect to nepotism, allegations of people being employed that are allegedly criminals, who are family members, friends, etc.
Yeah, he speaks about the slow lane, the fast lane, and the middle lane, yes, suggesting some people are parachuted, other people are held back at different points.
And that reference is not for nothing, because that is something that was painted towards Brigitte with respect to that particular appointment. So I don't think that reference is something that the Commission should just skip over. It's quite clear the foundation or the defense that is being laid by Dr. Lebeya as he begins his testimony, which really seemingly is flipping the script or the spotlight into crime intelligence and what happens to someone, or that's the inference that I get from what he's suggesting, what happens to someone if they challenge what is taking place in crime intelligence. And that's directly at a time where GCI Ops has pounced on Gadis KT Molefe. You see them raising these concerns that we couldn't trust individuals within that particular network. We had to turn to the PKTT, who weren't part of this Gauteng structure, in order to do this effectively. And we've already seen Khumalo address the fact that because they felt that that information could be leaked, such as what took place with Mabandla, where it is believed that he was told that the PKTT are coming to his home, and that allowed certain things to take place. Allegedly, Bushokha was believed to be at that particular residence, but because of the heads up, they were able to allegedly deal with that before the police get there. And that is what you got from Khumalo's testimony as well, with respect to why he didn't inform the Hawks or any other unit of that particular pending operation. But already you see the fertile ground being set to basically give a different lens on crime intelligence, even though some of these allegations we've heard before, and basically state that everything that took place there is because there was no effective communication and because of the fact that he lays out a history stating that he himself has done successful probes or discoveries into crime intelligence. And I think the inference there is that he also may be a target in this regard, or that's at least what he's trying to convey, because of what he's done in the past with crime intelligence. So he's allegedly seen as someone on the outside because of that fact. That's what I'm drawing from his particular examples in this regard. So we'll see how the evidence continues as he continues with that lengthy statement about the Hawks' presence in that Operation Takedown.
Briefly, Katie, it was also interesting to hear him make a lot of reference to the time when Lt-Gen Godfrey was the acting national commissioner. I mean, he speaks about an instance, for example, where he was instructed by, I think it was Brigitte, to investigate political killings, but the instruction was, or the cases were given to his subordinate, again pointing to that as being some kind of sign of political interference.
Yes, it's about creating that history and that background and applying it to more than once. So you don't have a scenario here before the commission, or at least that's what we're drawing from it, where one side is seen as the good side and one is seen as the bad side. So seemingly this evidence, it seeks to, at least what it appears to be, is to address every single counterpart in terms of their alleged roles in interference, but also in the same breath lay out his history, which he says is free of that and has actually gotten him in trouble or removed for resisting that kind of alleged interference or that alleged conduct. So it's an interesting way of approaching the allegations against you. I'm not sure if he's going to get to it directly, but it is quite a different manner of approach in terms of addressing whether or not you were allegedly interfering when you sent all of those Hawks officers down to that Operation Takedown. But I'm sure when the probing questioning begins, we'll get more to the meat of that detail with respect to his role at the time as the Hawks boss, not so much of the kind of history, because to some extent it won't be able to assist in explaining why things followed the manner in which they did on that particular day. And once they learned that it wasn't an impersonation of Hawks officers, why didn't they withdraw from the operation immediately? Those are the questions that he's going to face when this statement is done and read into the record.
Kenny Mapanga, as always, thanks very much indeed, our senior reporter here at the Madlanga Commission. Dr. Godfrey Lebeya really painting the picture of a man whose actions have always been above board, even though that's come at a personal cost. I wonder, though, if that goes far enough in absolving him from whatever decisions he may have made in the lead up to this raid, which we now know was problematic for a number of reasons.